Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. I hope you all had a wonderful holiday season and a happy new year. Before we get into today's video, if this is your first time here, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and join the D'Angelo family. Also make sure to hit that bell button and turn your post notifications on so you can be notified each and every time I have an update for you. So as we are entering the second week of January, there are still tons of reports of cases that were filed in the end of October, beginning of November that have still not been processed and receipt notices have not been issued. Payments haven't been processed. USCIS has not cashed checks for those petitions and applications that were filed over 2 months ago. So I did talk about this in one of my recent videos, that we were seeing substantial delays in the issuance of receipt notices, and we are continuing to see those delays. It's pretty crazy how previously receipt notices would only take 2 to 3 weeks to be received after filing case, and now we're waiting over 2 months. So I don't know what's going on exactly. USCIS did make an announcement that the delay in the issuance of receipt notices and the processing of payments is due to a significant increase in filings, as well as restrictions to facility capacity due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Those I-140s and I-485s that have been filed at the USCIS Lockbox are seeing these huge processing delays with the lack of receipt notices being issued. So if you filed an I-45 or an I-140 at a USCIS lockbox in the past couple months and you have still not received a receipt notice, you are not alone. This seems to be an issue, a widespread issue. With situations like this, it is very important to hold on to tracking information. If you're mailing your petition to USCIS, then do it with a trusted carrier. Make sure you have the tracking info on hand. That way, if you are able to get a hold of USCIS to find out what's going on with the processing of your case, you have proof that you mailed off your application and it was in fact delivered and signed for at the USCIS facility. I have a number of clients that are still waiting for receipt notices. Their cases were filed the end of October, beginning of November, and USCIS has still not cashed the check or issued the receipt notices for those cases. So just wanted to let you know that we're continuing to see these substantial delays in the acceptance of these applications. Now, the good news is that USCIS is still working and they're still processing cases. We are seeing adjudications of other cases, requests for evidence, other correspondence. So it's not like it's a complete standstill, a complete stop. It's just a huge backlog and a delay in the initial acceptance of the case. But we are seeing, EADs being issued, biometrics appointments being scheduled, interviews, naturalization interviews being scheduled. So things are progressing just at a very slow pace. With these huge delays, this brings me to my next topic, which is the I-45 rejections for employment-based derivatives. The Form I-45 is a 20-page document. There's a lot of information that they ask for and that needs to be provided, and it can be very confusing. I want my channel to be a space where we can help each other, people can get their questions answered, you can get tips on how to complete these applications. If you have had any issues with filling out Form I-45, go ahead and leave it in the comment below. I'm curious to see what other parts of this form have been particularly confusing to you. If you have any questions regarding filling it out, definitely leave it in the comments below. As some of you may know, when you are filing a petition under an employment-based category, an I-140, then you are eligible to adjust your status, and your immediate relatives, your spouse and children under the age of 21 are able to adjust their status as well as derivative applicants. Right? So each person has to submit a Form I-45 to adjust their status. Now, as part of the I-45, you have to complete the entire form and mark boxes selecting which filing category you are applying under. There have been several reports that USCIS has begun rejecting I-45s if some of the boxes are incorrectly marked. Now, this is a huge problem due to the delay that I mentioned previously. they're waiting 2+ months to process a case. And if your case is one of those that's going to be rejected because a box was checked improperly, then you're not going to find out till 3 months down the road and then have to resubmit again. So at that point, you could lose 4 to 5 months in total before you actually get a receipt notice for your application. Now, this is a huge, huge issue. So I want to talk about why they're rejecting these I-485s. That way you don't find yourself in the same situation. So USCIS has been rejecting Form I-45 applications for employment-based derivative applications when boxes 3A and 9 have been left blank. And instead, box 8E has been completed where it says other eligibility. So any applications that were prepared this way have been rejected by USCIS. So if you are the employment-based derivative applicant of an I-140, you must select 3A and answer question 9 on page 4. Here's why I think question 9 particularly is so confusing. The purpose of these questions 9A, 9B, 9C, are to determine whether the applicant is required to submit an affidavit of support with their application. Affidavits of support need to be submitted as part of your adjustment application if you're filing under an immediate relative category or any of the family-based preference categories. However, most of the time, you don't have to file an affidavit of support if you're filing under an employment-based preference category unless employment-based preference immigrants in cases only where a U.S. citizen, lawful permanent resident, or U.S. national relative filed the immigrant visa petition, or such relative has a significant ownership interest, 5% or more, in the entity that filed the petition. So what exactly does that mean? In most cases, the I-140 is filed by a petitioning employer, okay? Most of the time, it's a company. So if you're not self-sponsoring, let's say you're not filing an EB-1 extraordinary ability or an EB-2 national interest waiver and you're not self-petitioning and someone else is filing the I-140 for you, then if the person filing it is a relative of yours and they are a U.S. citizen, lawful permanent resident, or a U.S. national, then you must submit an affidavit of support signed by them. Or if they are not filing for you, but if they do have a significant ownership interest, 5% or more, in the company that is sponsoring for you, then you also need to submit an affidavit of support as well. So if that isn't the case, then you don't need to submit an affidavit of support. So that's why these questions appear in the I-485, to determine whether you're required to submit the affidavit of support. So that's what question 9A is asking. Did a relative file for you? Do they have the significant ownership interest? If so, 9B asks, how are you related to them? And 9C asks for the relative status. So make sure you answer these questions so you can avoid USCIS rejecting your I-485. I hope you found this video useful and helpful. If you did, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up so YouTube knows to spread it throughout the platform. Also, make sure you are subscribed and turn your post notifications on so you can be notified each and every time I have a new video for you. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.